All right. So today we're going to go over sections. So you should know the basics of sections for 44, right? So what is a section? Yeah, we're cutting the part to see inside of it. And so we're just cutting it in half because sometimes the outside of the part looks like one thing, but the inside has a lot of stuff going on. And so just looking at the outside, you're gonna have a ton of hidden lines, but we can't do anything with those hidden lines, right? We can't mention them, but if we cut it, now we can see what's going on. And so that's why we do sections. So we get it, turn those hidden lines to visible lines, so we can mention them, but also make it a little bit easier to see what's going on. So like this part here, oops. You can see what it looks like just from the outside. So outside, lots of hidden lines, right? Kind of hard to figure out what's going on. If we do a section, it's a lot easier to understand what's going on. You can see, okay, there's this counterboard hole that goes all the way through with a little off the bottom, and then it's got a slot here that goes all the way around. Then over here, there's this bigger hole that opens up. Okay? So it kind of lets us see better what's going on. So not seeing it. This is a kind of a complex piece, but we can see that this point goes that hidden line, that one goes that hidden line. So, and those two go all the way around. So that lets us know that this piece is that same rectangular slot that goes all the way around. This is the top opening, but it's also the same width as this counterbore. And then this is that hole right there. And then down here, these two are the extent of that big circle there. So we can see that that goes down this far. And then this little step right here, that edge. And that edge. Okay. So let's see what that actually looks like when we look at it. So here's that part. So here is this part. So looking at it from the front view, that's what we get. So we can see what's going on there. If we do that section here, that's what we're seeing. So there's that edge. Goes right here. Right there and there. Okay, does that make more sense now? So this is what it is. So it's set up so that these screws here could slide in there and then slide around in this area. So after it goes in, it gets locked into place. But this was big enough that this can slide down into. Okay, does that make sense now? What that's for? So, but this is still a lot clearer than this, right? We can see that there's a big counterboard from the backside here, all that stuff. When we do sections, we're going to see where we cut and everything beyond where we cut, usually. Okay. In most sections, you see where you're cutting and what's behind that. So which one of these is definitely wrong? B, yeah. That's no good because we're not seeing the back edges. We need to see that edge where it goes around the back side. This is showing us exactly what's cut and not what's beyond. Which other ones are definitely not right? The D? Yeah, because the point of cutting it is to turn those lines that are inside hidden, or turn them visible, right? This one left them hidden. So that's gone. So, what was that?
C is also.
Yeah, so C, where it's cut is good, but it's also showing us the hidden lines for what's behind it. So we usually don't show any hidden lines in section view. So now we have A and E, like the view channel. Is there a difference between those two? There is a difference. What about the lines?
One of them, all the lines are going one way, the other is
Yeah, this one, all the lines go in the same direction and the same angle. This one, they're going different angles. So in a section, within a part, all the section lines have to go the same direction and angle. This would tell me that this is one part and then this is a different part. Because in an assembly, you change the angle of the section lines to show the different parts. Okay? So if it's a single part, all the section lines need to go in the same direction for the entire part. Okay? Make sense? We can change the pattern based on what the actual material is. So if we have an assembly and some parts are rubber and some are aluminum and some are steel, instead of just changing angles, we can actually change what the line type is, what the pattern is. So that way you can see, okay, this part is steel, this one's rubber, this one's aluminum, whatever. This one right here, just the evenly spaced single lines, that's a generic pattern that we use for most things. Okay, so you're doing just a detail drawing, so just one part, you're just going to use this one usually. You could use the other ones, but usually we'll just stick with this one. And so it's called ANSI 31. So ANSI covers the standards, and it's hatch pattern number 31. Okay, questions? No?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, certain companies make their own designs for whatever materials or for the most part.
Sometimes, but there are standard patterns, so they should follow the standards. And I'll show you that once we get into Inventor.
Oh, wait, also, what's 14 and 15?
These are earth.
Oh.
So this shows us compacted earth and then uncompacted. Or actually, this is just dots is sand. So it's kind of compacted earth over sand, and this is just compacted earth. So like in architecture, so those of you that are taking the architecture class in the evening, when you do sections in architecture, you're going to use this pattern, this hatch pattern. So this hatch pattern is on AutoCAD. All these ones are in AutoCAD. If you go to the hatch command in AutoCAD, you're going to see all these patterns and more. But yeah, so that's showing us that it's earth, and usually they don't hatch everything, they just hatch the top little bit. Same thing if you're doing stuff that's wood. So here's concrete, you might use in architecture also. If you're using AutoCAD to do your drawings for architecture, you have to make sure that you're using feet and inches and you're drawing it in feet for this to show correctly. If you're drawing in inches, if you're like, I'm using inches and so 1 unit is 1 inch, and you put in the concrete pattern or the sand pattern, you're not going to see anything because it's scaled to go in as 1 unit as a foot. And so you'd have to scale that down. So if you're using AutoCAD, you put in a hash pattern and you don't see anything, try reducing the scale to like 0.1 or 0.2 or something like that. And then you can adjust it out from that point. Here's wood. These are not hatch patterns that are built in to do automatically, but they're patterns you can use to show what the grain is doing on the piece of wood. So like on these desks, I could put the kind of the bottom half of that somewhere on the drawing of top. I can see that, okay, the grain is going inside, not up and down. When you're doing wood stuff, the direction of the grain matters. Think about how some of these desks will look if the grain going this way on this piece, this way on this piece, going vertically, or at an angle, right? It's gonna look weird. Or for doing end grain, you'd have to just, and for those two, you'd have to just manually draw it. If you want to show the width of grain or the end grain little drawing on it, you'd actually just have to draw that in. Questions? And in Inventor, we can draw on top of our views. We can create a 2D sketch and just draw on top of our view. We're actually going to do that today. All right. So in order to get a section, we have to put it in our cutting plane line. And that's telling it where we're cutting. So in Inventor, that's what we draw. We draw the cutting plane line. And then it makes the cut based on that. Okay. And then, so the view where we cut needs to be opposite side of where the arrows are pointing. Okay. Inventor's going to do that automatically. Don't move it to the other side of the part again. So if you have this view, you draw your cutting plane line, you move it up, and you set this down, it's going to create this view. Don't grab this view and move it to the bottom. Now it's not lined up right. Right? Just like when we create our projected views, if you want the right side view, create on the right side. If you want the left side view, create on the left side. Don't create on the right and then drag it to the left. Then it's not right. In Fusion, we're not going to be able, or Inventor, we're not going to be able to do this setup and have these two be lined up. If we did section BB here, it would create section BB right here. We might be able to rotate it and move it down, but just putting it here is still acceptable, right? So just leave it there. Doing it by hand, you can draw it over here, whatever. But if you're using a computer and it creates it here, just leave it there. It's not worth it to try and rotate it, move down, and try and get it realigned. Okay. Cutting plane lines can be basically a thick phantom line, or a thick dash line like a hidden line, or under the kind of a newer standard, it could be just the two ends. Okay, that's acceptable under one of the more recent standards. Okay. So 3 ways you might see it. And we're going to see it. All right. So this is kind of a section where we cut all the way through. We're cutting all the way through the part. What kind of a section is that called? What?
Full section.
Yeah, it's a full section. Because we're cutting all the way through. So our section view is a full section. The full view is a section. Okay. We also have half sections, where half of the view is a section. Okay. So in a half section, we're taking out a quarter of the part, but on the section view, half of the view is a section. Okay. So this lets us see the outside on half and the inside on half. So let's say we have stuff we need to dimension on the outside and stuff we need to dimension on the inside. This lets us do both without having to have 2 different views. Okay. Just remember the name of it is half section because half of the section after the view is a section. Okay. Everyone gets caught up in like, no, it's a quarter section. No, there's no such thing as a quarter section. Okay, it's a half section. Even though the name of the sectioning tool inside of Inventor is 3D workspace, we'd call this a quarter section view. It's a quarter view, but it's a half section. This view is a half section. Okay, don't get confused of what they call it in the 3D workspace and what they call it on a drawing. So those are the two main ones. So we go to here. The whole thing. So if I want to do a full section, I have my view. I click section. I come over to it. So click section, come over, click the view. You have to tell it what view you're going to do something to. And now I can move my mouse around. And once I line up with a center point, it's going to give me that dotted line. And it's going to change from just being the little crosshairs to being the crosshairs with a little yellow dot. You guys see the dot, the yellow dot? So I've got like a plus sign with a yellow dot. So that tells me it's lined up with the center point. So I can come up here, I can click. Now I can just draw all the way straight down until I get the little line showing me that I'm vertical. Click, right click, continue. And now I can put my view this side or this side. Okay. Right here, it's asking me section depth. So full is what I want. That's going to show me from the cutting plane line all the way to the rest of the part. If I tell it distance, so now it's got the dark line, it's only going to show me from the cutting plane to that line. So sometimes, so in most cases, you want from the cutting plane to the rest of everything. In some cases, you've got a lot of stuff going on, and it's going to get confusing, and so you want to do just like slices of it, which you'll see on the next slide, or in a couple slides. In that case, we would use that distance option and just do from that cutting plane to the next thing. Or we could just say slice. And slice would give us just that, which we don't. Oh, wait a minute. But you can see the difference. I'm not getting the connecting lines when I did distance. If I do full, now I get it. So slice, what does that do? So I tell it just slice the whole part. Same thing as the view, it's only giving me exactly where it cuts. So we usually don't do that. Usually we want to do that, pick it, go down, right click, continue. Just leave it full. We do want to make sure what the letter is. So this is one of those things that changes based on companies. Some companies like each packet to only use each letter once, each view letter once. So if you got a packet of drawings for a part, for a whole assembly, you only use section AA once and section BB once in the entire packet. Some reset it for each drawing sheet. I just reset it for each drawing sheet. The way Inventor works is that it increments this letter for every time you do a section, a detail, a remove view, it'll change that letter for the entire file. Okay, but you can overwrite it. So just type, I just put A. You don't worry about the scale. I can just come over here, click. If it's the same scale as the main drawing, I can erase the scale there. I just need to keep the section AA. I don't need the scale unless I'm changing it. If it's still lined up, it's going to be the same scale. Okay. So that's the full section. If I want to do a half section, so what does the cutting plane line do on the half section? Yeah, so it comes in the way I'm looking, then it turns 90 degrees, and then I have my arrow. So what do you think I'm going to do in Inventor to get a half section? Yes, so instead of starting here and going all the way across, I'm going to start here and do that. So I'm going to start, so create a section, click the view. I'm going to start here, go in until I hit the center point, go up, click there, right click, continue, and there's my half section. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just, I'd see the bottom side.
Okay.
So if I go in, so if you, when you do it, if you just move out here first, you're not gonna, it's not gonna give you any lines. You have to kind of move your mouse over something. And so now it's gonna snap, it'll give you the projected thing for that thing you just kind of moused over. Okay? So I click here, go in, pick the center point, go down, right click, continue. I get here. So now I get the bottom side as a section. Okay? Questions?
Is it better to have it like that, or is it better to have it flat?
What do you mean flat? What do you mean flat? Oh, you mean doing it and creating a bottom view from it? I probably wouldn't do a half section on this part.
Well, I'm just saying, in general, is it better just to have it, you know, be like that?
It doesn't really fit on the paper this way, but I can rotate it and do it sideways. But so usually you don't use a half section if the two halves are the same. So like here, this half and this half are the same, so the half section might be good. Going this way, the top and bottom half aren't the same, so I probably wouldn't do that. Probably a full section going that way would be best. But if this part didn't have this big hole here, it was just this on all four positions, then doing a half section would be fine.
That's what I was saying. This side.
Yeah. Yeah, because here, this side and this side are different. So it's really, a half section wouldn't really be, a full section would be better here. I just wanted to show you how to do a half section. Okay, so that's a half section. We also have broken out sections. So in a full or half section, we're creating a new view with our section. Sometimes we have our view already there, and we just want to turn part of it into a section. So in that case, we're going to use a broken out section. So I mentioned that yesterday, right? Here, that calling out the depth of that counterbore is kind of hard because we don't know exactly where we're measuring from. And so I might go in here and just take out those depths. But now I need to tell it what the depth is, right? So now I can come over here. I'm going to zoom in on this view. And I'm going to create a sketch. So I'm going to hit Start Sketch. I'm going to pick this view. So now I'm drawing on this view. Whatever I do here is going to move with the view when it moves. Be careful that you pick the view, not out here. Because you can create a sketch out here. Watch. When I hit Create a Sketch, if I click here, look where the sketch came up. The sketch came up under the drawing, right? If I click Sketch and I click here, look where the sketch pops up. Underneath that view. Okay? If I click Create a Sketch here, it comes up there underneath the detail view. Okay? But make sure you pick the view that you want to sketch on. So if I sketch on this view, I can't use that to do a breakout section on this view. So I'm going to create a sketch on this view. And I'm just going to do it where I'm just going to kind of do the whole top part right there. I'm just going to turn this whole top thing where the screw goes through into a section. So I'm going to go to create a line, and I want to do a spline. Because a short break, or so a broken out section needs to have a short break line. Short break lines are just squiggly fat lines, right? I can't do a squiggly line with the line command. I want to go to the spline. And so now I'm just going to go here. Make some kind of squiggly line, and then kind of circle back around and reconnect it. Because I clicked on that first point again, it closed it, it made it an eternity green. Okay? I don't need to constrain this or dimension it at all. Because the size, where those lines are doesn't matter. I just want to show, like, I want an enclosed area where I'm going to do my broken section. Okay? Or the broken out section. So I get that, I hit finish. So if I move this view, that thing that I just drew is going to move with it. Okay? Now I hit breakout. It's found that there's only one closed profile, so it picked that automatically. Now it's asking me, where do I want to cut this part? So where do I want to cut the part? I want to cut it halfway through a hole, right? What can I see here that's halfway through the hole? Which headline? Does this headline count? Is that headline halfway through the hole? No, because that's either the front side or the back side, right? If I pick here, it's going to go to the quadrant of the hole, either front side or back side. But here, this line, or this line, or this line, that's the bottom quadrant, right? So the bottom quadrant is in the middle. So I can just pick any one of those. Okay? And then this is an offset from that point. So I want it 0 because I want it on that center of that hole. And I can say OK. So just turn that there. If I turn off the show hidden edges, why did it not do it? Breakout. Turn off the show hidden edges. I don't know why it left that in. But I can just right click on it, turn off the visibility of that. Turn off the visibility there. Same thing here. So sometimes you have to do some tweaks to it. But now I can easily see, okay, here's this, there's the thread, and now I can call out how thick that is that's left. Why didn't I just do a full section here? Why would I do a breakout, not just a full section? Yeah, if I did a full section through that hole, then I wouldn't see the chamfer there. I wouldn't see it there. Here it's hidden. So I could do a full section here and then do a broken out section here and see that chamfer, right? And I can call the chamfer note over here. So I could create a sketch here. Now I can call that chamfer right there. I think it's better just doing it like this, because it's still pretty hard to see there. or just doing it as the note, right? If I do it as a note, then I don't need this one. I can do a full section. Either way, I like to do broken outs, so I do them. But now it's easier to see, okay, this is the counterbore hole, that's the thread. But now maybe instead of calling out the thread here, where it's hard to see, I can call out the thread. There. So usually we don't do that, but this is a lot clearer to see where the thread is than over here, right? So by doing the section now, I can do that. Yeah.
Those hidden lines that show the threads.
Yeah, because that's showing us that it's the thread. Those aren't really hidden lines. That's the note for the thread. That's how you show threads. Okay, so that might be how I do this one. So I kind of took what I did yesterday, adapted a little bit. Now I can include a section and kind of call out this area a little bit better. Okay, does that make sense? So that's why we use sections. In a broken out, let's do that real quick. It just changes part of the view to a section. Remember on the vice drawings, I had lots of broken out sections, right? Because I don't like making a whole new view if I don't need to. Rather just turn half of that view into a section or a piece of it, just the part I care about. So it kind of attracts your eye to, oh, this is what he's caring about in the section, not here's a whole section, what's important. So that's why I like you. Okay, so that's broken out. So what types of sections do we have so far? Full, half, and broken out. Got 4 more. So this one is revolved section. So this is where we're doing a section, we're just turning it right in the same spot. We don't do revolved sections anymore in CAD because they don't do it easy. In order to do a revolve section, it's a pain in the butt. You could do it just you can do it like this, where you still have the lines connecting, but it's not really the best thing to do. Usually with a revolve section, this is the preferred way. We have breaks on either side of it, but to do that in CAD is really hard. In 3D CAD. In 2D, if you're just using AutoCAD to do it, that's easy. Because you're just drawing it yourself, no problem. But if we're using Inventor, Fusion, SolidWorks, doing something like this with the breaks around it is hard. It's easier just to do the section and move it out to the side, which is a remove section. So revolve sections, you might see them on old drawings. Just know that they're just taking wherever that center line is, and then they're just turning and showing you what it looks like right there, turning it 90 degrees. Okay? When you're doing things, you're probably going to do remove sections. Here's an example of one where they're doing just the slices. Remember I just looked at that? So you make it just like a full section, but instead of them being lined up, now you can move them anywhere you want. Okay? So if you got a lot of stuff going on, you do your sections and you move it wherever you want. So say I'm back here and I want to do, oops, the section that goes through here. I want to slice it like that. Right click, continue, and I make it down here. Doesn't fit, right? Let's say I have something else over here a little bit. I can click on this, right click, alignment, break. And now I can move this wherever I want it. It doesn't have to be stayed lined up, because I have the section line tell me where I'm cutting, and I have the name tell me what this is. So I can look at this and say, oh, it's MM, it's coming from that line. So it doesn't have to stay lined up, okay? So that's a removed section. Whether it's just a full section that you move, now it's a removed section. A half section that you move, now it's a removed section. It's a removed half section. So basically, all the other ones except for broken out, we can do as removed. Broken out, you can't remove because it's part of the main view. But any of the other ones, full, half, offset, we're talking about next, those could be made into removed view, removed section, just because they're moving out of the way. The same thing can happen if we have, I don't know, let's say we want this view to be somewhere else. We've got other stuff going on. If I take this view and I break the alignment, which is up here also, I just say break alignment. Now I can move it down. You see now it gets a label, and I get a view line here. I can move that line out, make it a little easier. And now that's a removed view. Okay? So you can break the alignment if you need to, but now it's a removed view. It's going to leave, it's going to give you a note and a section line. So it's basically like a section, but it's outside the part instead of inside the part. And with this inside, it's not going to make it into a section. Okay? So that's a removed view. Okay? Just a removed section. Just a section that now we move somewhere else. It could be like this, line them up at the bottom. We could remove the section and put it on a different page. So got a lot of stuff going on. We might have a page of the part, and then another page that has all the sections. Okay? That might be how it's done. Like an airplane wing is going to have a lot of sections. I have one view of the shape of the wing, like the front and the top view, and then one page of all the different sections. So you can see what size it is at different points along the wing.
And it's only showing like between.
Yeah. And so here, it's, yeah, I think it's just showing just right where it's cutting. So this is doing the slices. So these are all doing the slice. They're not showing you the whole thing. They're showing you that slice.
Oh, this is supposed to be a wing.
No, it's a part that changes. I need to draw this. Maybe while you guys are working on stuff after the lecture, I'll draw this. I've been saying I should draw it for a long time. Maybe I should actually just do it. So then we have offset sections. So sometimes we have multiple features and we want to see what's going on, but they're not lined up. So we can do an offset section. So now our cutting plane line can come down, jog over, and go through something else. And then get the section showing those two things that it's going through. Okay? What? And it's still looking from this line all the way there. So if I cut through B, so down, over, down, over, down. Now it's, I can see this, this, and this piece right here is this that's back behind. Okay? So we're still seeing from that point all the way through. If it's lined up, we usually see everything. If it's removed, we can see everything or just that little section. Okay? So offset. So what types of sections do we have now? Offset, removed, revolved, half, and full, and broken out. So those are most of the types of sections. There's one more. But when we have certain features that are supporting features, but we're cutting them in the way that doesn't offer support, we don't show the section lines. So here's a web, right, or rib here, web, rib. So webs, ribs, spokes. Those are things that we don't show the section because they don't go all the way through. Because if we're cutting it here, BB, we do section it because that does go all the way through the part, right? But AA, cut it here, this is the way we need to show it, not this. Because this is the part of it that goes the full width of the part. This part here where the web is, that's really not adding a lot of support in that direction, right? This web is supporting it forward and back, not side to side. And so we don't want a section. If we do that in Inventor, it's gonna give us this, okay? So, and this is one of the things that it's harder to do with a parametric model. Because now we have to fix it. Because just saying, clicking it and saying, okay, this is my section, I'm done, is not right. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Oh, I'll come back to offsets. So here I have this part. If I look at it, there it is. This is basically a rib. So if I do a section going that way, having a section, that's cool. Because that does go all the way. Okay. Why does the section not go all the way to the top? Yeah, because I cut it right here. So what section is going to get cut? Right there. If I move this way, it's going to go up. If I move this way, it's going to go down. If I put it here, now it goes all the way. Okay. If I create the section up here and come down, I'm going to get that. That's not right. Right? It should be just the bottom piece, the section, this top where the web is, should not be. Okay? So what I'm going to do, it's recording. Yeah, it's recording. Is I'm going to right click on the hatch. And so I could hit edit and edit that pattern if I wanted to. So this is where if you want to change what pattern it is, I could pick a different pattern. You can see it's updating. If I want to change the angle or anything, I can do that. But I just want to delete it. So I'm going to right click and hide that pattern. I don't want that pattern there. But I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to turn on my hidden lines so I can see where that line is. Okay. So now I'm going to start a sketch on that view. You can also tell that your sketch is on that view because the crosshairs will be centered on that view. So now I'm going to project geometry. I'm going to project that, and that. Right click, OK. And I have some yellow lines now. I'm going to go to Fill, Hatch Region, and then pick, oh, come on. Why is it not? Fill Hatch. You worked earlier. I think I would project this, and this. And then I think I drew a line earlier. Go hatch. There we go. So I don't know why I wouldn't just take that projected line, but now it let me do it just by drawing the line in. And now I can tell it that I want it to hatch. I want to use that pattern. Say OK. Finish the sketch. What else is wrong here? No, because now that's a solid line. It should be a solid line. It should be thicker, right? So that should be an object line. If you look here, that line is the same as that line, right? I'm just going to pick that line, right click, properties, and change the weight to 028. And now it's the same. Okay. Because the 028 is the setting for the line width for object lines. So now that section is correct. Okay. So if you're going to section through a web or a spoke, this is what you have to do. You have to go in there and manually fix it. So the next kind of section, oh, I was going to show you the offset. So here, so if I want to do an offset section, I want to come through these two holes and then come over and through that hole. So I want to see what all of that is like, because right now the side view is just that. Can't really tell what's going on, right? And so I want to see kind of what's going on in there. So I can do a section, click the view, just move my mouse over that hole, and now it'll track based on that hole. So I can come up, come down, through them both, click here, come over, click, click, right click, continue. And now I can see what's going on. But something is wrong with this view. Can anyone tell what's wrong? That's right. Wait, or between which holes? No, that's all good. Because this is solid material here. That's a counterboard from the backside. That's this recess here. So look at that. And look at that. No. I mean, yeah, center lines we could do. Here, let me do a projected view of this. So in Inventor, if we do a projected view from a section, we see the section in isometric. So this is showing, so you should be able to see now what's wrong. Actually, over here, if I turn on shading. So another thing, you turn on shading to see that. You can also, under display options, turn on tangent edges. So if I turn off shading and just turn on tangent edges, I'll see that. Or I can go and tell them to be foreshortened. That way it doesn't look like they're all the way. So if you have things with a lot of curves, that could work. That's where shading really helps. Is that even with that turned off, if I shade it, now I can see that there's curves going on. But something's wrong. Here, let me do a full section just so you can see what a full section would look like. Yeah, this line right here doesn't belong. So just turn that off. It's putting that in because when it does its cut, it sees this edge right here, and so it puts in a line. But we shouldn't show that line. It should be like this. Okay? So that's how that section should look. And you can have as many jogs in it as you want. Just make sure that you take out that line right there. That's not really, there should only be a line in the view if there's an edge on the part, right? An edge or the extremes of a circle or something like that. That line is made by just our line. It's not really there. It shouldn't be on the view. Questions on that? All right. So then the next one is align sections. And so we use align sections on things that have that are usually round things, and that have an odd number of features. Okay, so here I have this. If I do a full section through this, this is what I get, right? So is the part actually evenly spaced? Does it have evenly spaced features and stuff like that? Does that section make it look like it has evenly spaced things? Not really, right? It looks like this half is different than that half, which technically it is. But if we look at this whole part, it's got evenly spaced holes. It'd be nice if the section showed that. And so if I do a section, click here, again, start at the top, go to the center, and I go through, and I'll move it until it locks through the green dot there. Tells me it's locking at the center. Click, right click, continue. You can see it's changed the method from projected, where it's been before, to aligned. Because this is an aligned section. And now that's the section I get. Now the section view looks like it's centered, right? It looks symmetric. And so what's happening is it's doing our cut through here, and then it's taking the stuff over here, rotating it down till it's straight, and then projecting it straight across. Okay? That's what it's doing. So the measurement from the center line to here, so this measurement right there is the same as this measurement right there. It's swinging it down and then projecting it across. And so it could be if it's the same, or even if these tabs are the same distance or equally spaced, but what's going on them is different. That's okay too. But it just lets things with an odd number of round things with an odd number of things, you can swing it down and show in one section both pieces. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes? All right, so that's a line section. If we have ribs in a circle, this is how we have to do it. This is where it gets really fun. Especially if the holes don't line up the ribs. I'm not going to do this for you because that's a pain in the ass. Because you have to draw your lines, and then you have to go in, edit that sketch, and add in these arcs. Now look at our cutting plane line. It goes down, around, through, down, around, out. And then I have to edit the view to take the hatching off the ribs.
Well, so when people are machining this, like, will shops ever be like, I want this certain view on there?
Well, it makes it easier for them to see what's going on. Because if I just did a full section, this is what I'd get. And it really doesn't. Here I can see this rib, but up here, this doesn't help me at all. So, I mean, you could do just a half section. Just a half section here, but then you can't see how this part is interacting with the whole. Because, I mean, I can see it, but I can't see how far down this goes. I'd have to still do this. So if I just did a half section just so that bottom half, but I still need to fix the hatch on the rib, that would be fine. But I'd want to go through the hole. But still need to at least do that piece of it. If the hole was here, if you take just pure half section, no problem. But because the hole is not aligned with the rib, now we have to do some work. So actually, I will do that just so you can see it. So let me come in, open that. Start a sketch on there. project. Where's my rib? Rib. There, I've got some ribs now. So if I want to do that, I'd go to section, click here, here, to here, here, continue. And then I'd have to go in and find that section. Right. Oh, there's my sketch. Right click, edit that sketch. And now draw in a circle there and a line from there to there, a line from there to there, and then trim that. So now you can see my cutting plane line. And now I just need to go back in here, turn on my hidden edges, turn off this, start a sketch. Oops, wrong place. Start a sketch on that view, project that. Oops. Stay in the sketch fill hatches. Why is it not? Oops, that's not what I want. Nope, I don't want those. I want everything else. I'll project all the rest of it. And then draw a line from here, there, there, and a line from there. Oh. Ah, because I lost part of that line. Why did I lose that line? I don't know.
We understand.
You get it, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'd have to do. So that takes a little bit more work, but it's doable. Okay, so that's how it actually take care of circular ribs. Spokes are the same thing. We'd have to, because the spoke doesn't go all the way around. So if it looks like this, then you'd think that that would go all the way around. If it doesn't go all the way around, then it needs to be done like that. Okay? Same thing that I just did. You have to go in there and mess with it. For your brake lines, so if you're doing it by hand or an AutoCAD, if you have round things, you use these S brakes. If we're doing it on a computer, it doesn't put S brakes in, it just does the short brake line, this regular line, okay? If we're doing a long brake, it'll put in like the broken views we talked about yesterday, right? Talked about broken views yesterday? If we have long pieces, we can take out sections. Yeah. It'll automatically put in long brake lines for us. If it's wood, you want to make it more jaggedy. And that's it. Okay, any questions? So the assignment for today is this piece, coupler 1. So kind of the same thing. It's got a clearance hole and a thread hole, but it's got a bunch of stuff. So from the outside, we just see that, right? So from the top, we see this. So how could we dimension this thing? So we could do a section of it, right? If we do a full section, does that give us, can we dimension all the holes and everything? No, because then we lose either this hole or that hole, right? So we probably can't do a full section. I could do it without a section, right? I could call this out as a counter bore and just have that side view with that, but then it's just a side view with a bunch of hidden lines in a circle, right? So think about the other types of sections. I could do, you do, what could you do? Let's say sheet, base. What could I do? So if I did here, I just get that. All those hidden lines don't really help a whole lot, right? So what could I do? So what type of sections could I do? So full section. I get that. That's a full section. I just lost the near side hole. Yeah, we could do an offset section. It's kind of hard to do on round things like this, but maybe. So I'm just gonna break that one. I don't know, maybe something like that. I don't know if that looks best or could make the break somewhere else. Instead of making it through center, make it over here or something. I don't know. What else could we do? Or could you do? An align section?
You can start on the very right side, make a section on that gap there, run towards the middle.
Like that? Actually, that's actually pretty good one. I didn't think about that. But it's still got some ugliness going on.
I was thinking through the gap that
Oh, through the gap? But if I go through the gap and I miss this, I lose this hole. I want to keep something to be able to see that hole. Remember, I want to be able to dimension that hole where it's round. What was that? No, hold on. Letterless. What is that? Just a section through those two? Let's try. Not too bad, right? What were you saying, David? Going through here? Oh, instead of doing this? So let's try that. So that gives us that, but it still doesn't help us with this issue of knowing how deep this goes and that. But it does help a little bit. What was that? Of this one? If I do a full, then I'm going to lose that front hole. Right? If I go through the middle, I'm going to lose this hole. No, we don't do revolve sections. Because it basically, you make it like a regular section, and then you have to slide it back. So, like here, if I want to do a revolve section, what I would have to do is I'd have to do a section, and then I'd have to slide it back to be perfectly lined up. And then I don't even know how I can turn off that whole line. I wouldn't show the revolve section would be like that. Except not having the arrows. I have to turn off the arrows. So what else? Yeah, I could. So if I go back to a vertical alignment of those two, I can do a broken out section of like this half of it, right? So I could create a sketch.
You have a detail and then have a section for that detail.
It didn't close. It has to be a closed sketch. Yeah, you can make any view from any other view, except from a section you can't do some stuff. So if I want like the side of that hole, so if I want here, it's going to show me that. If I edit that, I want the side of that hole. Now it gives me that. So that actually is not too bad. So now I can see that hole. I can see where this ledge is. Okay. If I remember, you have the standards to look at. So if you go to the H drive 5, Y14.5, you have the standards. So if I look for hole. So it says as dimensioned in figure 136. So this is how they should be dimensioned. So do dimension it here is acceptable. Okay. So it's preferred to dimension where it's round, but it's acceptable to dimension it in the section view. Okay. So that's acceptable. So kind of like what we did earlier, I did this, right? With that counterbore. So with that in mind, what could I do?
Oh. I guess the top view.
I could do a section here and dimension the thread and that here, right? Kind of like what I had done on that other one. So you've got some options. Do we need both views? Yeah. We need both views because we need this view to tell us how far down this is. You can't see how far down it is up here. So we need this view at least for the location of this, but the hole itself could be called out here or here. It's not quite as clear here, so we might want to do it there. If you do it here, what do you have to make sure you do? Add a diameter symbol. Okay. And then kind of figuring out stuff. So this hole, this circle here, so these two circles, I could do it a hole of the counterbore, right? If I care about how much space is here. If I care about this space, then I can do a diameter and I can actually dimension that space. If I care about this bottom space, I have to have a section or something to see that. If I care about this top space, then I can just do it from the top view. Okay? So figure out what you think is best. Okay? Open up the drawing, see how the drawing is done. How's it called out? Or the model. So look at that. That was done with a counterbore. If I edit it, it was given a distance just down. If it had been a hole with a distance from the bottom, then that changes things. Okay? So I'm going to lock you. Get to work. You're probably not going to finish this today. I've got an hour-ish, so take a little break. Come back, work for the next hour after that. If you don't finish today, that's fine. I'll give you some time tomorrow morning. But I want to look at this by 9 o'clock tomorrow. So by 9 o'clock tomorrow, I want to be able to look and talk about this. Okay? If I turn that off. Ready?